I can't work on things because like I got robbed and like I don't have internet and stuff like that. Like, and I'm a person who invented high energy, I invented high energy nuclear desalination, and I also invented high elevation nuclear desalination, which like is a pretty good invention. Like I worked on it with NASA. Like I was like studying NASA. Like I invented blockchain for the voting system by working on things. And it's very difficult right now for me to work on things. And I'm in the middle of a presidential campaign. I'm on Snapchat. Like when I do Snapchat videos, I have to like go and link them to, or I have to go link them together by using a separate app. And like I just got hacked, like by what feels like it was Venmo and PayPal's app. I know that apps are how you hack people. Like I know that like you want to install something on their computer, and like it's very hard to install a new thing that's going to be consistently available to the phone without installing it via an app. And like a lot of the time, like you need them to have the app open, or you need them to open the app. And I was just working on something like, because I don't have internet, but I was thinking about it, like Apple or Microsoft could have an operating system that's an immutable operating system that like you can't install things at all on it when you're using that operating system. And that operating system has things on it like Microsoft Word, Excel, like a photo editor like Photoshop. It has like PowerPoint. It has like a music player, like it has a movie player. It has like maybe even a movie editor, and like it has like whatever software you need. But I was thinking like that's one option for security, where like you're not allowed to install even local apps. Even because like you can log in as a local user, and Microsoft's recommending that you don't log in as a local user, just do administrator always. And for me, it's like, no, like you guys can tell me that, no, thank you. But that also tells me there's something wrong with your operating system if you think that it's like just as good to log in as an administrator. Administrators have access to more files. Like what I can do is I can make sure that nothing new is ever on your computer ever, except for Word documents. Like Word documents must be saved in this. Like must be saved in this directory, or something like that, or MP3s must be saved in this directory, and like I will test and make sure that they are still MP3s, and like, but like you can even go so far as to like have or go less far and say like this is the only this administrator can install things at all. And local administrators can't install things, they can't run code and stuff like that. And like like my software, BBS, like I purposely wrote it as a local user. I've been talking about how I'm having trouble working on things because like my communications are censored by the mafia, and like the feds are kind of like, I don't know anything. And they know I'm involved with the election. So they're tampering with this election, like more than any election in history. Like the feds are like blocking a candidate from having money, but then I've proved that I'm a sex trafficking victim. And like I've talked about how I invent like things all the time. Like a lot of the time, like I'll invent things like every single day when I'm working on stuff. And now I'm having so much trouble working at all. Like I invented blockchain for the voting system because I was working on it, and now I'm having so much trouble working. But what I have been working on is an operating system that is very, very immutable. Like it's very hard to run like any code on your computer unless like you're a super user. Like unless you're using a certain type of account that we are like, it's like warning, like every time you like try to create that account, like warning, this account can do this, warning, this account can be this. And so like a lot of the time, like you want to run as a local user even though you have an administrator password. Like I am not logged in as an administrator on any of my computers that I know of at all, because I don't want to be able to like make certain changes to the computer's file system from that account. Because what if someone hacks my account? What if they get into my web browser and they get out of my web browser and they hack my account? Like a lot of the time, like people can't get out of the web browser at all, but when they're in the web browser, they can run code. But in order to run that code, they have to get onto your computer via a server. So like you have to go to their website or something like that. So I believe that we might want to focus a lot of the code running, like in the browser specifically, in the web browser, and that would be like how you would run programs generally is via a web browser. Maybe I think that like inventing the most secure operating system possible is difficult, but I also think like it's easy for a lot of people, like having a simplified operating system. Some people, like coders, they really do need to run code all the time. Like they need to run stuff from the command line. They're constantly doing Linux type stuff, and Linux type stuff gives you more power, or PowerShell type stuff gives you more power. But like generally people don't need the PowerShell type powers. Like the last thing my mom's ever going to use is network shell. And so like, I think that like I can put my employees in a computer box, and I'd be very happy with that. Like, which that's a lot of the time what people do. Like they put their employees in a computer box. Like you can only do things a certain way, and this is what we use. I'm sorry if I'm being boring today talking about computer security, but I can't help it. So if we're really trying to make a super secure operating system, then probably like we should do a super secure JavaScript API that's available to that browser. Like, and so if you're using that browser, you are restricted to using certain types of JavaScript. And that's like jQuery basically. And so like you can do animations on your page and stuff like that, but can you use like all of JavaScript? I'd probably try to not. And why would I do that? Because like I can write a keylogger right now. Me. I don't even know JavaScript. I mean, I've been doing JavaScript like always, but like I can just code one. And that's why like I think like when we're talking about doing a web browser that like limits your JavaScript, like we have to worry about making sure a lot of websites work. And that's why we need a JavaScript translator, which means it would be slower. Because we wouldn't allow them to run like native, like just base JavaScript ever again. And so like JavaScript would primarily be for web browser stuff, like animations, and not like, but that doesn't mean that you can't like take data and go and run on the back end. You can run code, like you can go to a server and then run code. Like I'm not really afraid of it, like running code and then giving me like output, like it's saying, here's some JSON, here's some XML, like here's some structured data that like is following certain rules for because there are different types of structured data. And so like here's just some string data, like but like but like if I'm running it in the browser, like I'm worried about the things that you can do. So if I'm doing a keylogger and I'm capturing your keystrokes, like can I capture keystrokes outside of the browser if I'm running keylogger in the browser? I think you have to escape the browser to do that. And another thing I was thinking about is like having a known DNS database that's like in the computer and it's doing integrity checking. Like I talked about how I invented this idea of blockchain for the voting system, which involves hashing. Well, a lot of the time, like security involves hashing things and making sure they're not changed. And so like when I'm talking about like, you can't install apps. What I'm also saying is like, I'm hashing certain parts of the file system constantly. Like, and I'm making sure there are no changes to that folder, because that folder is where all of my apps run out of. And so, but if I'm talking about it like a known DNS database, which is like resolving like www.google. I can never finish a video, but what I'm trying to say is that like you can hash things in the operating system to make sure the file system's not changed. And so like I can constantly have hashing for any directory besides these directories. And so like I can always know if there's something new on my computer based on the hashing. So like one of the issues that I think that like is kind of weird to address is like, we all want faster computers, right? Like we all heard, oh, Apple's gonna do 8 GB memory on their phone. We all went, oh, that's better. Yeah, I want to do 8 GB. So a lot of us have 4 GB, and a lot of us have less than 4 GB of memory on their phone. And like when you add more memory, like does that leave room for hackers to do stuff on your operating system? Yeah. So like can you give hackers too much power over your operating system? Like by making your operating system too powerful, like by like having faster processors. Like I think a serious hacker would love to be on a gaming computer And that's why like bigger is not always better, especially when it comes to phones, because like I've said, like the reason I caught someone, I'm pretty sure I caught PayPal or Venmo, someone trying to hack me, is because like my phone was so slowed down because there's not enough memory. And I've seen it before, so I stopped it. But like if you are gonna have more memory, then you want to be doing, like I would think, like hashing type stuff to guarantee the integrity of certain file systems on your computer. And that's why you can also hash like known DNS information, like known, like that Google I think is probably 66666, or no, it's 88888, like to do DNS. Just you can ping Google at 88888. But really, like Google has a bunch of IP addresses. They have an IP address range. Microsoft has IP address ranges. Amazon has IP address ranges. And so like a lot of people, like the Department of Defense has IP address ranges. Like, so like people have ranges of IP addresses that they use for different purposes that are for the open internet. Like different companies do. I'm sure Apple does too. And so like you can find out things about like your IP addresses that are connecting, and like you can ask the users things also. Like you can say like, were you connecting to this company? And I think that the main thing that makes that difficult is something called DNS redirection, where like you're doing a DNS inquiry and like instead it's like sending you to like 50 websites because you decided to go to one website. You did a Google search and you found a website on hair products and you clicked on it, and then it sent you to 50 websites and they're all advertisers. I'm not really into DNS misdirection. Like I believe in simplifying the internet in a way that like makes it so that we can catch the hackers, because I'm actually against hackers. And I think that generally the government isn't against hackers. My opinion is like, if the government's being trustworthy, like we don't have to be so afraid of people that we have to hack them all. So I've been talking about my plan to simplify JavaScript. I'm running for president, and I pulled out my resume, which is what I've been working on lately. And at the top, it has some inventions. Like I invented blockchain for the voting system, for securing voting systems with public ledgers, and blockchain for ICS safety networks. And I invented high energy nuclear radiation desalination and high altitude evaporation desalination. Removable containers that extend into vertical farm soil through the pot that are moved with miter saws. Like a lot of these are untested, but that one's easy to guess. It's a good idea. Alligator aquaponics, automated memory forensics for intrusion detection. I'm sure someone else was doing it, but mine was a little bit more thorough. When I was like probably like 5 or 6 years old, I wanted to have a smart house, so I came up with the idea for remote controlled surge protectors. Agile project management for movie production is something I came up with, and then industrial dishwashing sewer systems. So like you have a very large community that's built around the sewer systems that have industrial dishwashing systems, so you save water that way and stuff like that. I was recruited by the Department of Homeland Security to write code for them after I had been working on this automated memory forensics code for a while. Like I didn't know I was a genius back then. I didn't know my age was changed. Like I thought I was like very old, and I just got lucky and turned out to be a computer programmer. Turned out that I was like a very, very high IQ person that had his age changed. So like that, the NSA ended up showing up and asking me to do a new version of Linux to do Android cell phone investigations. But I have a bunch of other skills that I have listed here. Like I'm an expert at social media and computer network forensics, Cisco security, Cisco network engineer, Amazon Web Services, so like cloud stuff, NetConf, RESTConf, which is like Cisco stuff generally. I can do REST API stuff, digital forensics, memory forensics. I'm a Scala specialist. I do Python, agile project management. I'm a graphic designer, like Photoshop and stuff like that. I can do animated logos. I'm really good at After Effects for Adobe. I'm a Linux specialist. I'm good at SQL and PowerShell and databases and stuff like that. I do a lot of security stuff. I do big data stuff. Like I'm basically a full stack engineer, but then I'm missing PHP. But like PHP is almost like copy and paste, like to link the code together. A lot of the time, like for like what I want to do. So like I'm going to be an expert on PHP, or I'll be good at PHP in like a week. I do like Vim and stuff like that. I do Mac OS security. I speak conversational Arabic and Spanish, but I also like am like kind of famous for Greek, for Greek language interpretation, like of ancient Greek, because I studied ancient Greek as a child. and I'm still going through my resume. As you guys know, I'm running for president, and my resume is pretty fat because like I'm not just one thing. Like I have sales training experience. Like I went to business school, but like I'm more of like a computer resume type guy. But also like I do like graphic design. Like I'm a special effects artist. Like I can do like superhero type effects. I don't know if you've seen my introduction for like Glass Roads, like where I have like a rap song. Like that was me like being a music engineer, like I'm a sound engineer, and then also being a special effects artist by like doing like special effects with blowing up stuff. And so like I can do magic on your computer screen or on your television screen with special effects, which means that I'm a pretty good developer of online education courses. Like my whole life, it felt like I was around someone who did online education. And I worked for my dad a lot, like, and he developed online education courses, and he had a website. So like that gave me a little more experience with like website stuff. But I mean, but more than anything, it made me think about online education a lot. And that's why I'm so obsessed with online education. So, like I can do like NoSQL type stuff, obviously, and like regular databases. I can do Pro Tools, which is sound editing. I can do like Constant Contact and Salesforce.com, like, which is like, sales software type stuff and sales stuff, diagramming software, and then like computer, like network assessment software stuff. And then like I'm a full stack musician. Like I play drums, bass, guitar, piano, I mean, barely piano, but like I'm a sound engineer. I'm an indoor farming expert, and I've done like vulnerability assessments and like penetration testing, for like seeing if people have security problems. Yeah, so like I'm an all-around like pretty good computer guy. Like I know a lot about like Cisco identity services, like Radius server type stuff. I know a lot about IDSs, intrusion detection systems. I know like in network traffic analysis, like I know about like structuring data like YAML and JSON and XML. And like I'm pretty good at like doing security analysis stuff of networks. Like I know Active Directory, like which is a Microsoft thing. Like I'm pretty good at security. Like I have a degree in security. I was a writing tutor. I did a lot of blockchain stuff. Like I'm really good at like industrial control system security, like water treatment facility and power plant type security stuff. I went to college at the age of like 5 or 6. Like I don't even know how old I was when I went to college. Like I'm pretty sure I was like 5 or 6. Like I'm starting to wonder. So I've been going through my resume. I'm running for president, and I've been running for president on a lot of topics. But one of my topics is getting rid of JavaScript. No, I know what you guys are thinking. I don't even know anything about JavaScript. That's fine. Probably what most of you guys are thinking. Some of you guys are going, JavaScript's my favorite thing ever. But you don't even use, but like you just use an API with JavaScript. The thing about like me trying to get rid of JavaScript and saying we're just going to use jQuery now, which I think that it might not quite be exactly that, because jQuery has all these plugins. What are we going to say? No, you can't use plugins for jQuery. I don't know what we're going to say, because like I don't have an exact plan, because like I'm always kind of getting held back by like the mafia in my tech career. Like they're always like trying to keep me from information. So I learn all this information that makes me so freaking smart, and then I finally figure out the information like 3 years later, and now I'm older. So like now I'm like to the point that I'm actually pretty good at computers by myself, and I'm good at a lot of things by myself. And so, but like when I talk about getting rid of JavaScript, basically, which I'm not getting rid of JavaScript, I'm like saying like, here's like the allowed JavaScript. Like you can use JavaScript, but here's what's allowed is you have to use it in jQuery form. And then I would have to get the JavaScript people together with me to like say, like, we're going to remove like some libraries from like the compiler or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's a runtime language, because it's, yeah, like it's not a compiled language. It's a scripting language. So like they'd have to remove it from like the way that they do it on that web browser. So like, I don't know exactly what that would entail, but I know that like putting the code in a box where you can't do things outside the box means that you can't do things outside the box. And like, I believe that web browser code should be in a box, and it should be like, I should still be able to use it. But like, I don't want it messing with the operating system very much. Like, I don't want it messing with my local network very much. Like, I want like the processing to be done like server side. And then like, I want that JavaScript mainly to be like doing like animations and stuff like that. And like simple things. I don't want it to be doing as complicated things as like a lot of programming languages can do. And I think JavaScript probably does have limits already, but like, I think that if we put JavaScript in like a programming language box, like I'm saying, like where we say like, this is what you're allowed to do with JavaScript in the browser. Like, I think that could like really shut down a lot of hackers. Like, I'm talking about shutting down a lot of hackers. Like when I'm talking about like creating this operating system that has such strict limits, like on like outside the browser. I figured I might as well read you the cover letter since I read you the resume. So I'm a full stack developer with an AWS backend cloud computing background and a master's degree in business. Currently, I am weak in the PHP department, but that will change after 1 week to a month of working with PHP. I'm pretty confident with SQL, but I don't have money to do a week worth of training in PHP to link my education together. When I claim that I'm a full stack developer, I am certain that my skill far exceeds the average full stack developer in the networking department. My master's degree is in IT with a focus in cybersecurity. I studied at UTSA under the #2 cybersecurity expert at the Air Force, Rob Kaufman. I possess Cisco skills far beyond the CCNA. I've studied a lot for the CCNP Enterprise exam, main course, the CCNP Security exam, the main course, and the Identity Services course, and the CCNA DevNet exam, the main course. I'm a computer networks expert. I'm also ICS network security expert. I'm such a security expert that I was asked to accept a fellowship from the Department of Homeland Security. Once the software BBS I wrote before and during the fellowship was complete, the CTO of the NSA and 3 NSA station chiefs showed up to my office and asked me to write Android forensics software. After I declined the offer to do Android cell phone forensics, I invented a destructive Merkle tree algorithm, developed the concept of blockchain for ICS safety networks, and I invented the idea of using blockchain and public ledgers to secure election voting systems. I did all that in under a year. For the last 15 years, I took care of my dad who had dementia. He eventually developed Alzheimer's disease and died. When I took care of my dad, while I took care of my dad, I diligently wrote Windows memory forensics code that was so advanced that I was recruited by the Department of Homeland Security. And eventually, after the beta code was complete, the CTO of the NSA and multiple station chiefs recruited me to write a new version of Linux based on Santoku Linux. I declined the offer because I don't want to spy on people. Years later, I discovered that a fatal bug was added to my code. The code doesn't work for Windows 11. Currently, I'm stuck in purgatory because I have a deferred adjudication sentence that is the result of me being denied the right to trial. Now that I've decided to accept a felony, I need to find work as a felon instead of waiting for the charge to be expunged. I was charged with felony menacing by letter without actually brandishing a weapon or simulatedly brandishing a weapon. I pled guilty because the police hurt me every time I went to court, and my public defender refused to allow me to defend myself in court. I was declared incompetent for trial, put in a psych facility, and blocked from trial. I'm a computer genius. I love the opportunity to prove to you that I'm a computer genius. I have a very high IQ. I'm awesome at anything I do. I make people around me better, and I need a job like right now. Like I say I'll take it. I'd like to accept an internship if necessary. Like if you teach me PHP, like I'll take an internship right now. But like I need money. Like I'm in trouble financially because like I'm being blocked from like making money like legally. Like I'm making all this money legally, and I'm not allowed to make money. Like it's embarrassing. Like